I have nothing positive to say about Matt Hancock at all. Indeed, in many ways, I would like to mirror the comment of Miriam Margolyes that he is an appalling, adulterous creep. But that said, I don't like to read. I mean, of course, I haven't seen any more than about 10 minutes of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and that was under duress. And I don't intend to watch any more. I think it's a vile, ghastly programme and a very good example of why reality TV needs to be reformed. But this is the point. I thought that the tradition of the stocks went out in the Middle Ages, or certainly by the 17th century. The idea that you locks a criminal into the stocks and then pelt that criminal with vegetables or with rotting fish or indeed with live insects. This is some sort of ritual humiliation which I thought we had done away with. To find that it's on television and presented as some sort of entertainment, and night after night Matt Hancock is again expected to pick up stars from camel ordure or kangaroo ordure, excrement, and nibble on, suck on a crocodile's genitalia. This is simply abhorrent, and this is why we need reform of reality TV, because it's cheap, as indeed is Matt Hancock, but we knew that. But it's cheap, and I've been writing to the current DCMS Secretary of State and her predecessor, Nadine Dorries, who herself complained about her own experience of reality TV. So she should have been sympathetic to the fact that I think it needs proper reform. If this is going to become our diet of television, we need to make sure that people are not exploited, that the audience is not exploited, and that performers who are in these programs for a length of time are not then further exploited or manipulated by production, as indeed the current legislation allows them to be. Now, Matt Hancock will almost certainly have his own management team looking after him, and so he probably will escape the sort of manipulation that went on after I was on a program called The Circle. But most people will not escape that. Most people cannot escape that because they don't have that level of management support. We should have proper management, proper representation, and proper union representation, should people want to take it up. Without that, this is a form of exploitation TV. And people have died. People have died not because they can't deal with fame or the loss of fame or whatever. That's some sort of trite media nonsense. It's a trite media trope. No. People have died because they have been depressed by the manipulation that occurs after the program is over. And that needs to stop. And if production companies are not going to stop it willingly, then government needs to step in and lead the way. And holding a committee session into the problems on Love Island and the Jeremy Kyle show. Jeremy Kyle is back on television being as ghastly as ever. Holding a committee meeting into these programs and then stopping it halfway through when it's only taken information from production company staff rather than from those people who were, quote, contestants or performers. It heard from 4 performers and 40 more production staff. I don't consider that to be an unbiased committee hearing. I consider that to be extraordinarily skewed in favour of production, and production got exactly what it wanted. It's wrong. That committee should be reassembled, and we should look at this new form of television, this cheap form of television that is taking over our screens. I don't think you can switch on a television channel these days without finding some form of reality TV on there every evening, because it's cheap. And it should not be so exploitative. And I think the discovering that Matt Hancock is yet again looking for stars, it's just disgraceful. And I'm sure people are complaining. And of course, not only is it disgraceful, it's boring. And I'm sure people were bored in the Middle Ages watching criminals in the stocks, watching executions. After a while, it gets dull, I'm sure. And I'm sure Matt Hancock is not the sort of person to endlessly entertain, even with a camel's testicles in his mouth. It's just not. It's not going to cut the mustard, is it, really?